But is it really immoral to drink unicorn blood? Take it away.
It's the Exes show. That's where Exes go. On the Exes show. It's the Exes show.
Alright, I'm Jeffrey, and I'm here with my friend
Laurel.
Laurel, thank you.
Laurel,
Oh my
and
God, don't start with
Laurel.
that.
Laurel is an INFJ,
True.
and I am either an INTP or an ENTP. And so Laurel and I have been friends for like 3 years, 4 years.
A long time.
A long time. And I'd like you to provide a little bit of context for the viewers here.
Oh, where do I start? Well, we met on OkCupid, and we dated for a bit.
I'll drink to that.
Yes. So anyway, long story short, it's the Exes show, and you know, we became friends, and still, that didn't make sense. Yeah, cut that part.
I'm going to cut out everything but us saying, cut that part. So it'll just be a sequence of, cut that part. Would you cut that? Please cut that. Dear Lord, my parents cannot see that.
It's been a long road. Oh, hey, there's
a
someone
little,
wants to join the
a
interview.
cute bud.
Yes.
And Fitz is an ISFP. He's still coming into his
Don't
own.
drag my dog like that.
He's still coming into his own. We're here to talk mainly about the Myers-Briggs test, and the purpose of the interviews, this is my first interview, the purpose is to kind of explore inner type dynamics and see how much the typology stereotypes apply to the people that we're talking to. So what does it mean to be an INFJ?
Well, we're
I'm
very,
losing it.
very
Please
rare.
edit this out.
While we're a very rare type, less than 1% of the population is an INFJ, so
She's
we
got the
like to
stats.
think we're very special and unique. A lot of it's, I think we're pretty highly sensitive people usually, so you know, we feel a lot of that.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and we like to really put a lot of faith in our intuition, as a lot of you probably know, so yes.
Awesome. So, how long have you known that you were an INFJ? When did you first take the test? Have you ever tested as anything besides an INFJ?
So I hate to sound a little arrogant, but I have not ever tested anything with an INFJ. I've taken it a couple times. I don't know if I've taken the official one where you have to pay to get your results because, you know, money. But I first learned about the test. I had just moved into a house with 3 anarchists and in all 7 different people. And there were a lot of personalities in the house, a lot of big personalities. This was right after college, and I needed a place to stay. And the main guy, also one of my exes, it's just the ex parade tonight, I guess, I don't know, talked to me a little bit about the Myers-Briggs test. And all of the roommates had taken the test and posted their results on their door. It's kind of a way to, like, diffuse tension.
I didn't know about that.
Really?
Like,
well,
here's my excuse for why I'm a butthole.
yeah, but it's kind of like that, though. It's like, here's how I interact with the world. So it was kind of a good way for them all to, like, to sort of parse that out and to, like, see how they fit together as roommates. So that was really neat, and it was the first time I'd heard about the test. Ian showed that to me. Ian, if you're watching this. Anyway. Cool.
So at the time, so what was he? An INFJ?
So Ian was also an INFJ, which is sort of where my INFJs probably shouldn't date each other policy came from. Fight me, internet, sorry.
That seems like a fair policy.
I know, yeah, we're real, lots of feelings.
So what was the composition of the house besides the 2 INFJs? Do you remember?
So we actually had a 3rd INFJ,
John.
weirdly enough, John O'Shea. Claiming to
If
be
you're
an INFJ.
if you're watching this. So you had 3 INFJs
So we
who
had
were living
3
together.
INFJs. All
Sounds
of
like
us
a recipe.
bonded. Yeah, you'd think it'd be a recipe for disaster, but we all kind of bonded over our mutual status and got along fairly well. And it was actually, we had another extroverted type, Steven. I would love to watch you type Steven in real time right here on this camera.
Oh my gosh.
Please.
I would love to turn him over to the internet
Just
and let
have him
them try to
type.
make sense of
Yeah,
him.
but he was definitely like an outward perceiver, definitely like extroverted, and definitely kind of the opposite of what you would imagine as an INFJ, basically. Not a lot of the intuition, not really like big into the feelings, definitely more of like a thinking type. So the 3 INFJs, of course, at times clashed with Steven over sort of like his habits and such. So it actually, the typology sort of helped actually in knowing that. And I took the test after moving in and found out I was an INFJ and felt very warm and special having found two of my brethren.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, how much of the like stereotypical profile resonates with your own self-image?
So this is also a little INFJ stereotypical. Is I read the profile and was just like, this is like 100% me. I feel like someone just looked inside my brain and was like, this is who you are. The profile, like almost all of it resonates with me a whole bunch, and it really helped sort of explain me to me. I know that a lot of people feel that way when they look at the Myers-Briggs and everything.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a pivotal moment in my life and a good moment because it took some traits that I had thought of as like weaknesses, and it actually made me feel pretty good about them. Like I sometimes being really sensitive and being an INFJ can be seen as sort of like a weakness, or like I have a lot of emotions and like they can really like, you know, give me a run for my money sometimes.
Yeah.
But I like looking at those things now as like they're just part of my intuition and they're part of my personality profile, and they're just sort of like part of the.
It's the package.
Yeah,
like,
it's the whole package.
There are strengths that accompany those weaknesses, if
Absolutely.
they're even weaknesses.
Yeah, so it was really a good moment for me. It was a pivotal moment. So.
Yeah, I think that I felt the same way, even though I've fluctuated a little more with what my type might be. It's still reassuring to see something that spells out like because I am definitely the kind of person who doesn't see any of my strengths. So to be able to see like, okay, there is something to being like analytical and like really precision oriented that most people might overlook. I just take it for granted that that's how I am. So I don't know, that's cool.
It's nice to see your strengths and your weaknesses sort of like listed out side by side, because you can sort of like acknowledge your weaknesses while acknowledging there's other parts of your strengths that are important.
I don't read the weaknesses.
That does not, no?
I don't read the weaknesses.
Not at all? No.
I do, and the weaknesses are usually pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's really weird how that works.
That's actually one thing that I wanted to talk to Laurel about.
Yes.
So I have identified as an INTP for a very long time.
That's true.
But I was recently typed as an ENTP, which, if you've seen my other clips, I'm kind of recording haphazardly. I've mentioned this before, but I was typed by Alex and Calypso of INFP and INTJ Coffee.
Ooh, nice.
And they typed me as an ENTP, and that has instigated an existential crisis of some sort. But
boy.
Laurel has known me for a very long time,
I have.
so I wanted her to weigh in on that a little bit, because one thing that didn't ever really resonate with me about the INTP profile is there's like an associated lack of warmth. And I feel like, so ENTPs have extroverted feeling a little bit higher in their functions. And I feel like it's pretty obvious if you look at me. I'm like trying to massage the feelings of the group. And I'm like trying to be aware of what's going on emotionally.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a point in favor of ENTP, but I wanted you to maybe give me your perspective on that.
So you actually remind me in some ways of my best friend Laura. I know, our names are Laura and Laurel. It's bananas. We were born one day apart. We were born one day apart. So it's kind of
it's amazing, yeah.
But Laura is an extrovert.
It's like God threw one lightning bolt of soul and it accidentally split into two pieces.
What a great hypothesis. I love that. Hypothesis.
Hypothesis.
Oh boy. Okay. Laura is an extrovert, definitely by nature, but with a lot of like social anxiety. We were actually talking about this earlier, where like I think sometimes people who are extroverts who have some of that social anxiety piece, it's maybe harder for you to recognize that you're an extrovert, because if you're a little bit socially anxious about your interactions, I feel like at times it's hard not to look at yourself as an introvert, because you're like, oh, I need to recharge and I need to whatever. I sort of think that you could be like an ambivert.
Yeah.
I really think that you could maybe be one of those people that's a little bit more on the borderline.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, you do seem to be extroverted in some ways, but I also see some introvert tendencies in like your writing and sort of needing to withdraw. But it's really about how you draw energy. So I guess my question to you is, how do you see yourself like drawing energy? Do you draw it from social situations? Do you recharge a lot by yourself? Like that's kind of the best litmus test, really.
Yeah. So I do think that ambivert is a pretty appropriate way of looking at it, because I do recharge a lot on my own, but like going back to social anxiety, I also suffer from social anxiety, and it's like if I'm in a good space with somebody, I feel really energized, like really, really energized. But if there's any wiggle room for me to think, but what do they actually think about me? Like, it's that fear of judgment that is the most psychologically draining thing. And I can second guess the whole interaction, and that's really what saps me of my energy.
Yeah, and that would sort of be seems like an introvert tendency, for sure.
Yeah. But if it's going well, then it's like electric. Like I really do like interacting with people when it's going well.
Yeah. Counter question: do you find then that maybe your close relationships kind of give you energy? And like I've always felt like a strictly very much an introvert, and I adore people. And I'm INFJ, and we were talking about that earlier, where we're the most extroverted of the introverts.
Yeah.
And I definitely adore people, and like I really like them, but I know that like if I don't have time to recharge, I will reach my threshold with people, and it just, no matter who they are, maybe Laura doesn't count, but for the most part, no matter who they are, how close I am to them, it just isn't quite. I'm gonna have to take some time. With you, maybe, do you feel like? Sorry, guys.
Like you're literally about to walk away from the interview.
Just walk right away from the interview.
It's too much.
Absolutely. I guess my question to you is: do you find that like the quality of your interactions then, and if you're really close to the person, maybe plays an effect? Because that might suggest some ambivert tendencies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the more comfortable you are with them, or the closer you are to the person, does that sort of give you energy like an extrovert versus like if you're it's an acquaintance, does it sort of take it away because of the social anxiety piece? Like, what do you think?
Yeah. So, well, being with somebody that I know pretty well does lessen the anxiety because it's like I've mapped out this territory. I know this person. I know exactly what they expect of me. They know they know me.
Yeah.
So obviously that's not really as anxiety ridden.
Yeah.
But what I'm noticing now that I am being medicated for anxiety and depression.
Cheers.
Destigmatize.
Take your meds. Take your meds, kids.
Take your meds. Now that that's happening, I feel like I'm becoming a different person. And that's also part of why I started questioning my type. Well, I was already questioning, and then I started taking my meds.
Okay.
Like, and then I got my results while I was in the middle of adjusting biochemically. And like I had gone to a birthday party for Asia, and it was like a dual birthday party for Asia and some other guy that you don't know. I do remember your name though, buddy, if you're watching. His name is birthday party, and it was like the first time in my life that I was interacting with tons of people that I didn't know, and I just felt like I was on point the whole night. Like I was like, I'm slaying it with the jokes. Everybody's laughing. I'm connecting with everybody. There's not really like, I'm not experiencing any of those weird moments where you feel like you have to cry in the shower afterwards. Things that will haunt you for years on end.
For sure.
Like I don't want to wake up at 50 like, at Seth's birthday party, I shouldn't have said that thing.
Remember that one time.
But yeah, so it's weird. Like I don't really know. I think that I still have to figure out who I am after I've adjusted. But it's hard to say. I feel more and more comfortable interacting with people that I don't know at all.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the Zoloft is having an effect on your social anxiety though, or do you think it's just changing your chemistry? Because I've met people, I've dated people, I've had friends that like when the big difference between them on antidepressants and them off antidepressants was just like astronomical, and like it just kind of changed their whole life and their world and like their functioning level and like everything for them.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, do you think that that's having a pretty big effect on your type even maybe? Do you believe that's possible?
Well, I do believe it's possible. Like
Uncovering your type maybe.
it's hard. Yeah, it's uncovering. Like I don't think that. Well, I don't really know. I'm kind of agnostic about the idea that you can change your type.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do think that the markers of type, like those can manifest for different reasons. So it's like, I like to spend time alone. It might be because like you're horribly depressed, and who knows who you are on the other side of being horribly depressed.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about changing your type either.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't seem like that could happen without like grave intervention.
Yeah, but a lot of the questions that you answer are behavior based, right? And so I do think you can change your behavior.
Yeah.
It can be hard.
Yeah.
But you can. Like I'm becoming more and more just like good at household adult tasks because you have to. Like everybody should get better at things they're bad at. I think that's just a given.
But do you think that that could push you from a P to a J, I guess is my question.
I don't think so. I think that my natural inclination would always be, like I will always be fighting certain tendencies.
So you think the test is like showing your natural inclinations and you can change your behavior to a certain extent.
But the problem then is if you do answer according to your behavior, which you're changing, but your inclinations are not. So yeah, that's, what else? I wanted to ask if you felt like, you kind of already answered this, but was there anything that was like grotesquely wrong about the INFJ profile? You said that it was like 100%, but did that impression ever change for you?
It's a good question. I should almost reread the profile and tell you if anything has changed since I took it. We should do that. We could.
Yeah, we can do that
we can
live.
Pull that really quick.
All right, so I've pulled up the 16 personalities profile for the INFJ. I'm
Great.
on the strengths and weaknesses page.
Oof, call out time.
And I'm just going to read them to you,
All right,
and then
I'm
you can
ready.
tell me. And you might just display a smidge of narcissism, but it's the internet. It's a
Okay.
common thing here.
Cool. I'm
okay.
ready.
So trait number 1, creativity.
All right. Smidge of narcissism time. I got some of that going on.
Yeah,
So.
she is a very excellent writer, and she's going to grad school for writing.
I am. I'm really excited about
the
it.
fall.
At Oregon State University.
The big O.
The big. Don't call it that.
Insightful.
Insightful.
This is tricky.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would say so for my knowledge of you.
When I talk to people about their problems, I can often give them a perspective they maybe haven't considered. So insightful in that sense, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also drinking a lot of moonshine right now. So.
Yeah. Do you feel that you are inspiring and convincing?
Ooh, I don't know about this one. I think sometimes developing some of my traits is going to be important for me going forward. And I've been sort of encouraged because, probably because I've been socialized as a woman, I've been sort of encouraged not to take up much space and to be quieter and have a lot of trouble with public speaking. I think that going forward, maybe this is something I can work on in grad school, something I'm going to need to consider and to really round out my type is like being more like convincing and having like very persuasive arguments and like being more comfortable giving my opinions.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there is a part of this I don't agree with yet just because I need to develop it.
I think that that kind of ties into, at least in my understanding, that ties into your top function and your bottom function. So
yeah, good point.
So your bottom function would be extroverted sensing, and not only is that like being aware of like the environment around you, but it's also like being able to like seize an opportunity and like be a presence.
Yeah.
And like make yourself known, make yourself heard, and so that could be something that you're like aspiring towards.
I'm definitely aspiring towards that. It is not my strong suit.
It's like I want to take this intuitive vision I have and like implement it in the world and
that's
make it a
sort
real
of-
thing.
That's sort of the final stage, in a way, the final evolution, Pokemon-wise, of INFJs is when they can take that vision that they have so close to themselves, it's like such a part of them, and like actually act on it. So that's very apt, yeah.
Yeah, so you're almost there.
I'm working on it.
You're almost, what, you're 27?
Yes, I am 27.
You're fully evolved.
Oh
Almost.
my god, don't tell me that.
You'll be done.
I'm being brave. I'm moving across the country tomorrow.
Across the country.
So, no big.
From redacted to
To
Oregon. to redacted.
I'm moving to Oregon. I feel safe telling the internet I'm moving to Oregon. I'd be amazed if any of you look me up. So.
Yeah. You never know. Some cutie pies might try to come at you.
I'm learning ukulele, so
Yeah, that's
girls
right.
like that.
Yes.
Right, girls?
Okay, hang on a second. Oh, 22 minutes. This might be a two-parter. I might have to...
That'd be fine. That'd
Yeah.
be fine. Honestly, the more content you get out of it, the better.
Yeah, the better. The more
Milking
views.
those internet teas. Do not keep that in there, I swear to God.
What?
I swear to God.